What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the NECA Godzilla vs. Biollante Godzilla. And so here we have Godzilla posed and out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through Godzilla's accessories. This Godzilla does come with one accessory. We do get an atomic breath effect, which does peg into his mouth really nicely. Really glad NECA did include that atomic breath. Other than that, Godzilla doesn't really come with anything. His tail is detached at the time of unboxing, but you just pop that right in, so it's not really an accessory. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually move on to his details. And so here we have a closer look at Godzilla, and I think NECA has done an amazing job with this figure. One thing NECA has done so well over the course of holding this Godzilla license is making sure Godzilla looks just like he did for this particular movie, and this really does look like the Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Biollante from 1989. So it's a really nice adaptation of the suit here. You can see NECA did get really good at painting the eyes. It is unfortunate that they got really good at the eyes toward the end of their license, but that's neither here nor there. I really do like the way the eyes look on this Godzilla. You never realize it until you have the costume in hand, but Godzilla has a lot of cat-like features. You can see it looks like he has a cat nose and then a cat muzzle right here. His little ears are right there. He does have a really large brow right here, so that is really menacing looking. Really do like his teeth here. Now, one thing I do like about the Heisei era Godzilla is that he did have multiple rows of teeth. Now you can see all those different rows of teeth right there and in the top of his mouth, so that's something I really do like. You can see NECA has done a really good job with the scaling. He's this really nice gray, light gray, almost like a light charcoal color. The spines on this Godzilla look just like they should. They're the distinguished spines, but they also do have the rounded tip, so that is pretty accurate to how Godzilla looked at the time. You can see Godzilla does have some really nice claws here. They are a bone color, and unfortunately that hinge is kind of tight, but really do like that bone color claw, and he has them on both sides. Again, he has stiff joints for some reason, especially right here on the claws, so I do like that. The charcoal scaling looks really nice. You can see his pecs. Godzilla is a chunky lizard? Reptile? I don't really know what he is. He's this really big radioactive lizard. That's the best way to put it. You can see that there is some green shading throughout his body, although it's really minute and it's mainly prominent on the legs. You don't really see that anywhere else. Maybe the tail. Yeah, the tail does have some of that green shading, which is a little bit strange that we don't... I guess looking at certain parts you can see more green shading than others, so that's pretty good that it does bring out some highlights. Then we go on to Godzilla's really nice looking tail, his segmented tail, and again that green coloring goes really nicely all the way down to the end of his tail. So NECA has done a really good job with Godzilla's tail here, and you can see the dorsal spines go all the way to the tip of the tail. One thing I will note about this particular Godzilla figure is that there is no bendy wire in the tail. It's all plastic segments like the King of the Monsters Godzilla, which I'm perfectly okay with. Really do like the paint apps on him, especially here on the spines. And just like all the other Godzillas, the spines are softer plastic, so you don't have to worry about breaking those if you accidentally snag them. But if you do handle them too much, they will snap on you. And you can see they do have a lot of nice texturing on them. So one thing to point out about NECA, and this is everything that they do, it has a really nice sculpt to it, and that you can't take that away from NECA. So with his details out of the way, let's actually compare the King of the Monsters to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we have Godzilla posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Godzilla posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have Godzilla posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. Here we have the Godzilla vs. Biollante Godzilla posed next to the Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. And finally, here we do have the Godzilla vs. Biollante Godzilla posed next to the Godzilla Tokyo SOS Godzilla. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually move on to Godzilla's articulation. If we can just adjust the camera a little bit so we can go through his articulation really fast. Godzilla does have a hinge in the mouth which does open and close really nicely, and I do like that every Godzilla figure that we've gotten can actually open his mouth. Godzilla does have a ball joint in the neck, so that does go down, up, side to side, and of course it rotates really nicely. We do have another ball joint right here in the lower neck, which does look down, does look up about that far, can lean to the side, can lean to the other side, and that also rotates, so we really do like that. His arms are on ball hinges, so they do hinge out to the side really nicely, going all the way down, they go all the way around, so really good range there. No bicep swivel on Godzilla, but we do have elbow rotation, and that rotates here at the elbow. And then we also do have a hinge at the elbow going close to 90 degrees, so that's pretty good for Godzilla. We do have a swivel and hinge at the wrist, no issues there. And then we have articulated claws, so really like the fact that we get that articulated claw. Moving his arms out, we do have a ball joint right here at the torso. It does go back only to about that far because his dorsal plates do start rubbing up against one another, but he can lean forward to about there. It does rotate nicely. Legs, I believe they're just on regular ball joints because they do go out to about that far, which is pretty decent for a Godzilla figure. Legs do go out to the side because they are on Y joints instead of T joints, and just because of the way they're sculpted, his thick legs go off to the side when you try bringing them out. It's pretty much everything the same for all the Godzilla figures. We do have some rotation down here at the knee. It's pretty stiff on mine. Can I get this joint to move? We do have some knee articulation right there. Does go back to about that far. It goes forward to about that far, so really good range for Godzilla. We do have a ball joint at the ankle, so that does shift back, shifts forward, leans side to side, rotates. Good articulation there. We do have a double ball joint right here at the base of the tail, so that does move all the way around as well as rotate. Go 2 segments down, we have another ball joint. 2 more segments, we have another ball joint. 2 more segments, we have ball joint. We have 2 more segments, and then we have another ball joint here at the tail. We have 2 more segments, then we go to another ball joint. Then we have 3 segments going into the ball joint right here. Final 3 segments do go into another ball joint, and that's all the ball joints here at his tail, and this is a solid piece of plastic. This does not have a bendy wire on it, so do be careful when trying to bend this because it's not meant to bend. So overall, really do like this version of Godzilla. I can't lie, this is one of the Godzillas that I grew up watching when I was really little and really into Godzilla, so really happy I have him in hand. So what we're going to do now is get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the NECA Godzilla versus Biollante 1989 version of Godzilla, and I have to say this is one of my favorite Godzillas that NECA has made, and I don't know, there's just something about the 1989 version of Godzilla that is campy. He looks kind of goofy, but at the same time you can take this guy seriously. I don't know, there's just something about the look that is kind of cutesy but vicious at the same time. It's really hard to explain. You have to really understand Godzilla to try to figure out what I'm getting at. But anyway, this is a really solid release, and I am really glad that he does come with an atomic breath effect. That's something that I think NECA should have thrown in with every single version of Godzilla, and I'm surprised that it takes them so long to realize that every Godzilla needs an atomic breath. Really glad that we do get one, and this is a really nice figure. The sculpt on this guy is solid. The paint apps are pretty good. There will be some hiccups here and there, but overall really satisfied with the way his paint looks. This is a welcomed addition to your NECA Godzilla collection. So if you are collecting NECA's Godzilla figures, this is a must-have for your collection. With that being said, guys, I do have to say that I picked this up from my local comic book store, so huge shout out to Black Sheep Comics for getting this out to me so I could review it for you guys. And there's really not much more I can say, so I am going to wrap up the video here. Thank you for watching. As always, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you think of this Godzilla figure. As always, check out all my other video reviews, as well as all my other NECA Godzilla videos. If you like those and want to see me do some SH Monster Arts, just let me know down in the comments. I'll definitely consider it. As always, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos. And as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.